So in yesterday's class, we have started with the application analysis, and also we have discussed about what are the steps involved in the application analysis while solving the complex problems. So before going into the next steps, I would like to give you the summary of whatever we have done it in the previous class. Now in previous class, first thing we have discussed about what is analysis and what are the right different approaches. We use it in the object oriented analysis, that is domain analysis and application analysis, where domain analysis focuses on the different objects and the classes associated with the given problem statement. Then application analysis basically focuses on the end user requirements. Now this is how you can categorize or you can define domain analysis and application analysis. Now as you are aware, these are the right different steps we had discussed. There are total 9 steps they have specified in the application analysis of interaction model. Now whenever I say interaction model, basically it concentrates on the use case model. So these are the steps. The first step is to determine the system boundary. You require to have your own limitation for the given problem statement. Then you require to identify the actors for the given problem statement. Then identify the different use cases with respect to every actor in the system. Then for every use case, you are going to have an initial event as well as the final event. You need to somewhere document those things where maybe a developer will realize what is going to be the initial event, what is the final event, how that particular use case will exit from the system, he will realize it. Then we are going to prepare the normal scenarios for every use case. Now maybe we require to write the different steps involved in executing that particular use case. That is called as scenario. Then add variation and exception scenarios. That means, there are maybe cases. Maybe in that particular case, some error may occur. Maybe there is an exception. There may be some kind of additional study of the requirement. Now those things we just list out in this particular section of variation and exception. Now I'll just scan through this PPT, what we had discussed in the previous class. So this is about determine the system boundary, identifying the actors, which are maybe there are some external objects, or defining the roles. Then we come up with the use case. This is maybe a simple and sample use case diagram for a case study of ATM. Considering customer, bank and consortium are the actors. Maybe initiate session, query account, process transaction and transmit data. It is a different use cases with respect to a particular given problem statement. Then find initial and final events. So for every use case, we can define initial event and as well as the final event. Then prepare the normal scenarios, how every object will interact. What are the steps involved in initiating the session? That is, we are going to write it in the form of some kind of a summary that is called as a scenario. So like that, we can write a different, you can say, scenarios for a particular given system. Then you can consider here add variation. Now basically I discussed you about exceptional use cases even in previous class. These are the special cases. Now the special case is something like, okay, if your pin number is a alphanumeric value, okay, then it is consist of characters as well as the numbers. Now what is the length of the number? If someone tries to give more, okay, length, then definitely it should give the error. That is also can be considered in the exceptional scenarios. Maybe there are error cases, that is, now maybe for input pin number, only number is given, but someone is trying to type the character. There may be an error, or maybe we can consider it as a invalid values. Okay. Now similar to that, maybe there is a network failure. Now while entering your username and the password, maybe you will find some, okay, network error. Now how it will be taken care? That is nothing but failures to respond. Maybe when you press OK, right, there is a possibility that there may be a database error. Now how do we take care of that? So there may be some variations and exceptional use cases you can list out for the given problem statement. So similarly here, okay, help requests, whatever request you are sending it, maybe, okay, there may be help, that also you can query. Then what is the status of the query? Maybe you have sent the query, but you are not really responded it. There may be some kind of okay messages you can give it as exceptional scenarios for the status of queries. Like that you can find out maybe different variations of the use cases, different aspect of the input given to the system. Maybe there may be some kind of interrupts, maybe there may be some errors. Now all these things can be considered as a variation and exception scenarios for a given problem statement. The next step is to, okay, now for example, with respect to your ATM machine, okay, these are the right some of the, okay, exceptional and as well as variation of ATM example. For example, ATM cannot read the card. Okay. Now this is a usual, okay, error you come across whenever you insert your ATM card. Now there is maybe a possibility that because of some malfunctioning or because of the damage of the card, definitely there is a kind of a ATM cannot read the card. Then card has expired. So already you are aware that whenever bank issues the ATM card, definitely you will find there is a expiry date. So even if you try to, okay, use that ATM card after the expiry date, no, definitely your system should recognize that there is a problem with the card. So that is also one of the exception, okay, error. Then ATM times, the number of times the user can use that ATM. For example, maybe some bank will set 3 times, some bank will have 5 times. Based on that, maybe they will block the ATM. That also need to be considered. So the amount is invalid. For example, if you are having a balance of 1 lakh rupees, but if you try to withdraw 5 lakh, then definitely there may be a kind of error. So for every aspect of defined use cases, maybe you can go back to your previous, okay, whatever use cases we have, okay, defined. Now for every use case, maybe you will find some set of variation or addition or exception, okay, use cases. Now those things are very important, okay, whenever you go for the analysis. So now what is the basic idea of, okay, going for this variation and exceptions? Now you are trying to define what is your system is going to have it at a later stage of some errors, how your system will respond to those different, okay, tasks. That is also very important aspect of your application analysis. So you can go for exceptional use cases for every, okay, defined, okay, list of use cases. Now the next step is to, okay, these are finding external events. Okay, now what is basically a external events? Now there are so many aspects with respect to a particular ATM system. The external events includes all type of inputs. Maybe there are decisions, interrupts. There may be some interaction to form the external devices. For example, I will give you one example of thumb impression. Maybe there are some of the system, now after every task completion, it asks for the thumb impression. So that is an external device connected to your system for some kind of a security purpose. Similar to that, maybe for a particular defined problem statement, you require some of the external events. Those things you can really list out for solving the problem. So these are some of the points. We can show it through the best way to represent the external event, how it will communicate it to our system is a sequence diagram. Now as you are aware, sequence diagram is one of the diagram used in the interaction model. Sequence diagram of UML. Now what are the different entities of the sequence diagram? Now it is we try to depict some of the components horizontally. This is very generic sequence diagram. Now horizontally we are going to place different objects, different actors, different maybe external devices, or maybe a user. Now we can really place it. Then we try to represent its lifeline with a dotted line, right? So dotted line will indicate that the existence of that particular object, existence of that object or the actor at that particular point of time, that object will be invoked. That is how you can represent the sequence diagram. So this is how you can represent object 2, then object 3, like that we can specify it. And for every instance of time, you can specify with the arrow mark. Now what actually it represents? It represents the communication between these two objects through a proper message. So now I can assume that this particular instance of time, object 1 will invoked and the message will be passed to the object 2. Based on the input given by the object 1, object 2 will try to maybe it will pass a message to object 3, or after executing there is a possibility that object 2 also will communicate to object 1. That is also fine. So it is based on how the sequence of the task you have managed in your analysis. So that is how you can use it, this sequence diagram, to represent different scenarios. So this is a one simple you can say a sequence diagram. So when you look at this sequence diagram, now horizontally it is going to have all the objects, then it's going to have its own lifeline, and different messages. That is how you can define a sequence diagram. So this sequence diagram, you can observe here the use scenarios for normal events sequence diagram. So you can use a sequence diagram to represent whatever your listed scenarios, and definitely you can display diagrammatically in an efficient way than textual. Now as you are aware, the diagram has a it is impact on the customer or the developer than the textual communication. That is how this can be used. The sequence diagram clearly shows the sender and the receiver of each event. So you can observe. When you look at this this sequence diagram, it clearly indicates that object 1 is sending a message to the object 2. Then maybe there is a success or a failure. That success in the sense, okay, it may go to the next part of your execution. A failure, then what is going to do? Now that can be clearly you can represent using this sequence diagram. So there may be, okay, system which you require some external entities also are going to be connected with the system, that events can be represented with the, okay, this sequence diagram. So this is how you can use, okay, your sequence diagram in the representing your different scenarios. So this is, you can observe, okay, sequence diagram of the process transaction. Okay, process, maybe it is withdrawal here. Okay, now you can just observe these are the different, okay, actors. That is how we have considered in our use case diagram. You can see user is one of the, okay, entity, then ATM itself is a one particular entity, then consortium and the bank. Now that is how you can able to visualizing our ATM system. Now you can see, okay, ATM, whenever you go to the, okay, ATM system, now there are two, okay, approaches here. One, okay, maybe a user will insert a ATM card and then you will get a menu. Then, okay, otherwise ATM will display the menu and then it will verify the account details. So it is all your thought process how you would like to go for solving the problem. Now in this particular case, ATM is displaying the menu, then user will select a withdrawal. Now in this particular case, I would like to make it very clear here. They have assumed the authentication of the user. When you consider this particular, okay, sequence diagram, they have assumed that they have already authenticated the, okay, user, okay, security credentials. They have already authenticated the user. So it displays a menu, then user selects the withdrawal, then after selecting the withdrawal, user is really required to select the account, then request the amount, okay, ATM will, okay, send up one small form to accept the amount, then it will enter the amount. Now this, okay, process transaction can be considered in the your maybe internet banking. Okay, that is also can be considered. Then after entering the amount, okay, definitely somewhere it has to be going to verify the balance is available or not. So it is going to send a message to, okay, verify the funds. Then consortium, or I can say here it is a kind of a server. Okay, server is going to send a authentication message to the banking server. Okay, with respect to a particular banking server, it will verify the funds, confirm the funds. Then after confirming from the consortium, it dispenses the cash, and then you can take a cash and you can remove the ATM, or you can exit from the web. That is how you can clearly indicate the process of transaction of a withdrawal, okay, for a success case here. Okay, you can just observe there is no such, okay, failure cases. For example, I'll tell you here. Now when he enters the amount, okay, the amount may be higher than the balance available. Now in such case, whenever it verifies the funds, maybe it is higher, there itself it will failure, and it will give the message saying that your balance is more than what you have already available in the bank. That's a failure of one particular case. Maybe when he selects the account number may be wrong. These are all exceptional use cases with respect to your ATM system. So this is how you can use a sequence diagram for, okay, defining your application analysis. So I think maybe you have cleared with this what is a sequence diagram, how you can use a sequence diagram in the application analysis. So definitely you can take your own problem statement or the case studies given and try to draw one particular sequence diagram for a use case. Okay, yeah. Now we'll go to the next step here, activity diagram. Now this is also, I think in your previous class I had given you just a small summary of the interaction model. Basically you have three models, one use case diagram, sequence diagram and activity diagram. So you can use these three diagrams effectively whenever it is required in your application analysis. So maybe author has given you some steps, but where I should use those different diagrams, you can decide on those things. So activity diagram shows a behavior like alternatives and decisions. This is very important. What is alternative? There may be different methods available. For every case there may be some decisions, maybe a success, failure or true, false, how need to be taken care. That is can be really you can show it through the activity diagram very systematically, considering all different actors of a particular given system. Similarly, you can prepare activity diagrams for complex use cases. There may be some complex use cases. Now it's very difficult to understand the functionality of the use case by just particular one word. So to elaborate that word or to elaborate the functionality of the use case, you can draw the activity diagram so that people can really understand what it is, how it will work in the system. That is how you can use the activity diagram. Appropriate to you can show the business logic of the system. That is how you can document properly business logic during this particular analysis. So this is how you can use effectively this activity diagram. Now one example they have given in the textbook, I'll just show you here. Now you can observe for a moment and try to analyze how activity diagram is really going to help you. Then see here, insert card. There are two alternatives here, one readable and then unreadable. Now when it is unreadable, what is to be done? It has to exit from the system. Then when it is readable, there may be a bank code may be wrong or bad account. That is also a problem. That time what is to be done? Then similarly, if card is also readable, then everything is correct, then there may be something called as it can allow you for the transaction. Request for the password and then it can go for the transaction. Now whenever you enter the password, there is a possibility that a wrong password, or maybe you tried for 3 to 4 times the multiple failure password, then that also need to be taken care. So activity diagram can be used to show the multiple aspects of the error or what is the real problems you may face it in the your system, that can be represented with the activity diagram. This is one of the use case for card verification. Now whenever I can also write similar to this. This is one of the use case with respect to card. It is something like card verification is one of the use case. This is one of the use case for ATM system. But you really cannot understand what is this card verification. To elaborate that card verification, if you can show it through this activity diagram, then definitely people can really, okay, convince with this, okay, a particular concept, and they can think about, okay, analysis as well as development of the system properly. So that is how the activity diagram will help you in, okay, devising or solving the problem. Okay, next point. Now, as what we had discussed, organizing the actors and the use cases. Now, what is basically organizing? Now, organizing in the sense there may be, okay, a particular in a system, there may be some of the, okay, relationship you can think about it. For example, you can go for include. Now, as you know that include can be, okay, for every verification. For example, maybe you have observed in the banking system or banking employee, for every task he uses the, okay, thumb impression. That is a kind of a relationship called include. Every time it is going to include that particular task. That also can be identified. Then extend. Now, extending in the sense, maybe I can also define in terms of the parent and the child. Okay, you are trying to extend the functionality of already defined it. There may be some abstract functionalities already available that can be extended. Then generalization. Okay, generalization in the sense, it is a, okay, kind of a hierarchy we would like to maintain in our system so that, okay, reusability can be efficiently used in our analysis. That is how you can include it for use case as well as for actors. Okay, that is how you can try to organize, or maybe you are trying to, okay, look into the different aspect of the things, their characteristics and their relationships, and you will try to put it in a proper order. That is how you can use organizing, okay, these actors and use cases. Okay. So this is a one example they have given it in with respect to the ATM example. Look at this particular thing. Okay. So these are the actors: consortium, customer, and bank. Initiate session is a one of the use case. So there are, okay, they have used a relationship called include. Now, what is that include? Maybe a verification of the code. For a querying account, you need to include verification of the code or password. Similarly, for the process transaction, no, you can really specify those relationships in the use case diagram. So that is how you can use this particular concept of, okay, the include, extend, and generalization. Okay. Yeah. Now this is going to be the last step in your application analysis. Now, as what we have listed out, now maybe now we have done with the, okay, application analysis. Okay. Now already in our domain class model, we have come up with the class diagram. Okay. Now somewhere we require to, okay, check against the domain class model. We have a class diagram similar to, okay, this particular class diagram. Now similar to this particular class diagram. Now you can observe this is how your ATM system will look like. Okay. Just look into this diagram and try to analyze, okay, what all the, okay, entities they have used it in the class diagram. Now what actually this indicates? This is a one class. Okay. In ATM class, okay, there is a one, okay, function called as cash on hand. Cashier station is a one of the, okay, a class. Now similar to that, okay, these are the some of the classes they have listed out, like customer is a one of the class, card authorization is one of the class, then remote transaction, cashier transaction, this is where you come across a generalization. You can observe here transaction is a one class which they have considered as a parent class. Now in that parent class, they have considered cashier transaction is one of the child class and remote transaction is a one of the child class. So like that you can use a generalization very efficiently. For example, even here also they have used the same concept of inheritance or generalization, that is entry station, ATM and cashier station. That is how they have categorized it. So this particular class diagram and whatever we have drawn some particular use case diagram, now all the functionalities are really matching or not. That is we require to do it at the end. That is what they say, that check against drawn class model with your application analysis interaction model. So that in the application interaction model, if some of the functionalities are not really considered in our class diagram, then you can take up those things if it is really required and you can redraw the class diagram. That is how you can verify with the domain class model with the application model. That is how you can carry out the analysis in the object oriented analysis aspect of your thing. So what is important in during this analysis? One, to understand the basic importance of the UML diagrams. So how best you can draw the UML diagram and how best you can use those UML diagrams in our object oriented software engineering approach, that will help you in understanding the whole system. So if you look at in domain class model, basically it concentrates on the class model. If you look at the application interaction model, it concentrates on the interaction model where use case model, sequence diagram, activity diagrams will be used in solving the problem. So this is how you can really use these different UML diagrams for object oriented analysis. Okay. So now we'll take one more small use case, a small case study, and we'll try to draw one particular use case diagram for the given problem statement. Okay? Yeah. Now before going into that particular case study, now one more small aspect you come across in the application analysis or in the last part of your object oriented modeling, there is a concept called as application class model. Now basically this application class model defines what are the different classes and objects you will be using it in the interaction. Now whenever I say interaction, I am looking in terms of the end users. Now what is the class, which class is going to be used as an input model, which class is going to be used for displaying the information, which model maybe a class is going to be used for processing it. Now maybe those things we need to consider it in our application class model. Now that is where most of the application classes are computer oriented, define the way that user perceive the application. Now when I say user perceive the application, in the sense there are two aspects here. One, some of the aspect user will realize it. There are some of the aspect the user never realizes. It always goes by internally, you will get the information. You are, as a end user, you are mainly concentrate on the maybe some of the graphical user interfaces or the outcome of your input. Now we are concentrating on those two aspects in this application class model. These are the steps defined for application class model. What are those steps? Now specify the user interfaces. Then define the boundary classes. What are going to be my boundary classes? Then determine the controllers and check against the interaction model. That means for every task there may be some kind of a input-output model. Now how do we define that input-output model to solve the problem that can be addressed in your application class model? Okay. Now that is how you can define here application class model of your system. Now we'll take one case study and we'll try to solve your application analysis concept. Okay, we'll consider one particular small example how we can draw the use case diagram considering the steps of the application analysis. There is a example called mail order delivery system. This is your mail order delivery system. Now how your use case diagram will look like? Now I think already I had given you this particular problem statement in my classroom. Just go through that particular given problem statement. We'll try to list out some of the actor here. Now one of the very important actor, you can define it as a customer. Customer is one of the actor. Now similarly, there is a one more actor you come across as customer service assistant. Is a one more actor. Customer service assistant is one more actor. Then similarly, okay, one more actor called inventory control clerk. Inventory control clerk. And initially you require to have one more, okay, actor called CEO, the Chief Executive Officer. Now I'll just list out, okay, these are the right 4 different actors we have identified. So whenever I look into the determining a system boundary, okay, maybe I just look at the sum of the aspect, okay, whatever, looking at these different things. So looking at the problem statement, the customer, okay, have some 4 to 5 different use cases. One, he registers to the, okay, a company, register to a company. This is one of the, okay, use case. Or I can just use the word register. Or even I can use one more word called enrollment. Okay, this is how you can consider a customer. Then after registering, okay, the customer service assistant will take customer orders. Customer order is one of the use case for okay, customer service assistant. Now similarly, inventory control clerk can have a use case called controlling the inventory. Controlling the inventory, or we can use, okay, checking the inventory available in the, okay, system. This is one of the use case. Now if inventories are less, then he will place order and fill the inventory. So like that, you can define these different actors, and for every actor, looking at the given problem statement, okay, you need to, okay, list out different use cases, and you can draw the use case diagram considering, okay, appropriate UML diagram. That is how efficiently you can use, okay, these all UML diagrams for the analysis. Okay, thank you.